Welcome students. Today we will discuss about natural resources, that is land, soil and water, chapter 2 of geography. Now, as the heading suggests, natural resources. What are natural resources? The resources which are taken from nature and which are used without any modification. That is, they are used in the same form as they exist in nature. Such resources are called natural resources. So in this chapter we will study about the three vital natural resources, that is land, soil and water. Now, land as we know is the upper layer of earth on which we live. It is in fact the layer of earth that supports life. We use land for different purposes. So, this utilization of land by human beings for various purposes is termed as land use. And what are the purposes for which the land is used? These include agriculture, settlement or habilitation, mining, setting up of industries, etc. Now, physical, economic, and human factors like relief features, climate, soil, land, technology, all these factors they are helpful for determining the land use pattern. Now, the land use pattern, depending upon the persons who are using the land, we have divided land on ownership basis. On the basis of ownership, we have lands having private ownership and lands having community ownership. Now, what are the lands having private ownership? The lands which are privately owned, these are used according to the need of the landowner, and the community owned lands they are basically or mostly used to serve a community purpose. Now, what are the factors that determine land use plan? It is the nature and quality of land, that is how much fertile the land is, where it is located. These factors determine the quality, and it is the nature and quality of land that determines the land use plan. Also, the need of the community is a vital factor for determining the land use plan. That is, the land use planning is done on these two vital factors. As we know, from ancient times, land is required for cultivation or agricultural purposes. Why? To produce food grains for human consumption, and side by side in the modern times it has become a major means to provide raw materials for industries. So land requirement is increasing day by day, and that's why we need to cultivate land. Now, cultivation of land depends upon so many factors. The relief factor, that is the physical features, the fertility of the soil, how much fertile the soil is, availability of water, that is what sort of irrigation facilities are there, and the needs of people. Needs depending upon culture, depending upon the type of work, depending upon the climatic condition. How we can conserve the land resource? The land resource can be conserved by checking further spread of deserts, by checking overgrazing, that is the overgrazing by cattle should be controlled. Checking means controlled. By conserving soil and forests, by adopting various scientific techniques for development as well as conservation of the soil as well as forest resources, by practicing afforestation and land reclamation. Now we will study about soil resource. Soil is a very important resource. It is the top covering of earth's surface, and it is this covering that supports life. It is the soil in which the plants grow and fulfill their energy and nutrient requirements, and hence because of these plants we get energy. Now, as we know, soil is the top covering of earth's surface, and soil formation is a gradual process. Gradual means something which continues without interruption but at a very slow rate. So soil is a gradual process that takes place in thousands of years, and this process of formation of soil by breaking down of rocks due to action of some physical agents like temperature, running water, and cold is called weathering. Now, what are the factors which are responsible for soil formation? The very first factor is the parent rock. What is parent rock? As the name suggests, this parent rock is the underlying rock which contains minerals, and it forms the bulk, that is the majority of soil. And since it is making the bulk of the soil, it is also known as the parent rock. This rock, since it is the parent material or the matrix, it influences the texture, the chemical properties, the mineral content, and the permeability. Permeability, that is the ability of the soil to allow different materials to pass through it. Second is relief factor. Relief factor includes the factors which are associated with the geographical location of the place. In this relief feature, we study mainly about the elevation and the nature of slope. These two factors, they influence the rate of weathering and drainage of water. Next factor is the climatic conditions. The climatic conditions are also responsible for soil formation. As I told you just a few seconds ago, that weathering is the breaking down of rocks into smaller pieces by the action of climatic agents like temperature, rainfall, and running water, and the you can say cold, right? So these climatic conditions, they also play a very important role. These conditions, they exert direct as well as indirect influences on soil formation. The seasonal distributions of temperature and rainfall determine the effectiveness and in fact the effectivity of weathering and human formation. Apart from all these factors, the plants and animals, that is basically not animals, if we say it is microorganisms, that play a very important role. They help to convert the young soil, that is the newly formed soil, into mature soil by adding the dead and decaying content to the soil, and that dead and decaying content is known as humus. This, you all are familiar with this term humus. Now, after formation of soil, we will study about the soil profile. Soil profile is the vertical section of soil from surface to parent rock. In this soil profile, we study the different layers of soil, and these layers are arranged horizontally. And these horizontal layers are known as horizon. There are four basic horizons. First is horizon A. It is the topmost layer. It contains soluble minerals and organic material in it. And this organic material is basically the humus, which is formed from dead and decaying plants and animals, we have just discussed in the last topic. And it is needed for the growth of plants. What is needed? Humus is needed for the growth of plants, and this is more suitable for leaching. Leaching is the seeping down of the particles into the soil. Then we have horizon B. This layer is below horizon A, that is the topsoil, and it is known as the subsoil. It contains sand, silt, and clay. Also, the mineral content in this horizon B is more as compared to horizon A. Then we have horizon C. Horizon C comprises of small pieces of rocks, and these rocks, since it is below the horizon A and horizon B, the rock pieces, they are unaffected, or they are not affected by biological processes, that is no decomposition of rock pieces takes place. Then we have horizon D. It consists, since it is the last horizon, it consists of unbroken solid rock material which doesn't breaks at all and forms the rocky layer inside the deep earth crust. Now we will study about the different types of soils found in India. And the very first type and the most widespread type of soil is the alluvial soil. You have heard alluvium deposits. This soil is formed due to deposition of sediments, that is the small pieces of rocks or fragments of rocks that are broken due to running water and that are carried away by running water and deposited into depressions or ditches. This soil is highly fertile soil, and this is found basically in the northern plains of India. Then we have the black soil. As the name suggests, it appears black. Now, why soil is black? Because, as we have discussed 2 or 3 times in the video, because of the humus. And you know what is humus? It is the dead and decaying organic matter present in the soil. So this is formed due to weathering of volcanic rocks, and since it is formed due to weathering of volcanic rocks, it is also known as the black lava soil. This soil contains fine clay particles, and hence, since due to the presence of fine clay particles, it can hold moisture at a much greater extent. This soil is best suited for cotton and sugar cane cultivation, and it is found in Deccan Trap region of India. Next is the red soil. The red soil is formed from old igneous rocks. This soil is found in the peninsular India, and why it is named red? Because it appears red due to the presence of high iron content in it. This soil is not so fertile, but its fertility can be increased by addition of chemicals, that is manures and fertilizers. Now, laterite soil. Laterite soil is formed when the particles of soil are washed away by heavy rains, and these particles are from the fertile soil, that is the particles of fertile soil. When they are washed away by heavy rains, and they get deposited in low lying areas, this forms the laterite soil. Since it is washed away, and these are the washed away particles, it is less fertile, and this soil is found in the Western Ghats. And since it is less fertile, but since it is formed from washing away of sediments of fertile soil, it supports cultivation, but only for pastures, and shrubs can be grown in this soil. Next is mountain soil. It is mostly found in hilly slopes, and it is covered with forests. These slopes are covered with forests. This soil is formed due to decomposition of organic matter. Since organic matter decomposes and forms humus, so this soil, that is the mountain soil, is highly rich in the organic matter, that is humus. Right? Now, since humus is there and humus can retain moisture up to a small extent, so this soil, mountain soil, is more suitable for tea, coffee and spices plantation. That's why we can see the tea plantations are situated only in hilly areas of India. Now, desert soil. Desert soil, as the name suggests, it is found in hot and semi-arid. Semi-arid, that is areas containing less water, or areas where the soil is almost dry. So this desert soil is found in hot and semi-arid or dry regions. This desert soil has a thick layer of sand. Since this is a thick layer of sand, so humus content is absent in this soil, but this soil contains high proportion of salts. This means that it doesn't mean the common salt, it means the dissolved salts are present. So these are the basic types of soils. I am repeating again: alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, laterite soil, mountain soil and desert soil. These are the basic types of soils which are found in India. Now, we have soil erosion. This is also a very common term and a familiar term you people might know. Soil erosion means the removal of top fertile layer of soil due to the action of agents like wind and running water or floods. This soil erosion is not considered good for soil, as the top fertile layer of soil gets washed away and the fertility of the soil or the land gets reduced. There are different physical and cultural factors which are responsible for soil erosion. The physical factors include the slope of the land, the rainfall intensity and the wind speed. Whereas cultural factors includes the habits, that is our cultivation habits, overutilization of land, deforestation, unscientific farming methods. That's why we use various farming methods, or new farming methods have been introduced to prevent the soil, that is to conserve the soil. We will study in the next section. Now, conservation of soil. What is conservation of soil? Conservation of soil refers to preserving the soil and utilizing the soil in a more judicious and efficient manner. So, some of the techniques used for conservation of soil are afforestation. As the name suggests, forest area is decreasing due to over exploitation of land. So to prevent the land, or to prevent the soil erosion and to conserve the land, the practice of deforestation should be restricted or should be stopped if possible, and the afforestation should be promoted, that is increasing area under forest cover. To conserve the soil, we can check overgrazing of soil by the cattle. Animals must be checked. The fodder should be raised as a crop for feeding these farm animals. After this, we have strip cropping, contour plowing, cover crops, field fallow. What are these? See, I just told ki it is the agricultural practices which are unscientific, and because of this the soil erosion is there and degradation of soil is taking place. So some of the agricultural practices which are introduced and by adopting which we can protect and conserve our soil are crop rotation, that is the cultivation of different crops on the same piece of land at different times. Second is strip cropping. What is strip cropping? It is the cultivation of erosion inducing, that is the crops which can induce or reduce the erosion in rotation and alternation. Alternation means one after other with erosion resisting crops. Next is contour plowing. Contour plowing is the cultivation of land along the contours. Contours, that is, these are basically this type of farming is practiced in hilly areas. This is step farming, known as also step farming. This contour plow is the cultivation of land along the contours in order to check the flow of water, which can result in the washing away of soil, that is soil erosion. Now cover crops. Cover crops are the crops which are grown to cover the bare ground, that is the ground which is almost barren and on which no crop is grown. So these cover crops are grown, and these crops are grown in orchards and plantations where the gestation period of the tree crop is long. Now what is gestation period? The period from the growth, from the planting of sapling till the growth of the sapling into a fully fledged tree, that period is called gestation period. Then we have field fallow. Field fallow means allowing the land to rest, that is leaving the land uncultivated for 1 or 2 years for the natural replenishment of the soil with the nutrients, or the fertility gets restored naturally. Then we have water management practice, that is the rock dams. These rock dams are the dams which help to check the speed of water flow, and it controls the occurrence of floods. Now we will study about water resources. As you know, water is a most valuable and precious resource, since it is required for living, drinking and other carrying out other daily life activities. Also it is required by plants and animals as well. So water resources, out of the total amount of water present on earth, about 3% water is fresh water, and the 2/3 of fresh water is present in the form of ice caps and glaciers. So only 1% of fresh water is available, and this fresh water becomes, because of its less availability and wider use, it becomes the most precious natural resource. This fresh water is available, as all of us are aware, it is available to us as groundwater and in rivers and lakes. Rainfall is another source of fresh water. So water in India, we have different types of water resources, that is water can be extracted from canals, wells, tube wells and tanks. Now due to overuse and due to its industrial use as well as its use in daily life activities, the water resources, since they are scarce and they are less in number, but the utilization of water has increased up to a wider extent. This has created a problem of water scarcity, and hence the need for conservation of water resources is felt. So how we can conserve our water resources? This can be done by treating the impure water. In cities we have the drainage systems, and a lot of impure or dirty water is released. This impure or dirty water from the houses as well as from industries is released into the water body directly. So one better way can be to treat this impure water, that is to remove the harmful chemicals from this impure or dirty water, and then releasing this treated water into the water body. Second is Now it has become one more common way, that is the rainwater harvesting. In this, the collection of rainwater falling on roofs is done, and this rainwater so collected is later on used for different purposes. Rooftop rainwater harvesting is one such more popular form nowadays. Then we can use sprinkle irrigation for irrigating the crops. Instead of allowing the water to directly flow into the field, we can use sprinkler irrigation system. In this, the fields can be irrigated, the crops can be irrigated using less quantity of water, and in the end it is the planting of more trees, that is by practicing afforestation and increasing the green cover on the land. We can stop the soil erosion, and also it can increase and enrich the fertility of soil. Hence, this planting of more trees is a much better way for conservation of water resources. Thank you. That's all.